it was just quite funny. And Theo was very helpful, sort of, trying to make himself as light as possible. That day, I remember, it may not have been the last scene that that Dan and I shot together. In fact, I don't think it was. The timing of it in the schedule wasn't the final scene. But I just remember Dan was going off to watch the opening of the Olympics. And it was really important that we finished on time because, of course, he had to travel across London to get to the Olympics, which was like once in a lifetime, go and see the opening night.
You better go down. They'll be here in a minute.
But yeah, it's kind of strange, I guess, in some ways, filming that moment, knowing that would be the last time that they saw one another. I remember just being very funny. I remember us all trying not to laugh. And we were the three of us were carrying, one, I think, I was at the top, and then Elizabeth and Joe were holding a leggy. I can't remember the setup, but it was just quite funny. And Theo was very helpful, sort of, trying to make himself as light as possible. I just remember reading that episode and thinking, wow, this is like nothing I've ever read in a period drama where somebody dies in a bedroom and they're carrying him across the house. And I mean, it was absolutely crazy. It was a great storyline, and people still talk about it now. And of course, it gets the biggest laugh in the film when Lady Edith mentions him. So it's such a kind of moment that people remember throughout the series.
That would be quite similar, I think, really, with the series and the films. Girls are in first because of our wigs and hair.
And costume. It all takes a long time.
So we'd start getting ready, between 5:30 or 6, and to be ready for camera at 8. And often we wouldn't be ready by 8. So we'd kind of rehearsed at 8 and then come back, get dressed, maybe add a bit more hair and makeup. And then if it's a big day, you might not turn over till 9, because quite often the team would be getting 12 to 20 cast members ready. The day was like, so that could be quite full on.
There was more to shoot in the TV show, because we would put more, they would schedule more scenes in a day. So the film felt like a luxury because we would sometimes only shoot 2 scenes or 3 scenes a day. Whereas the series, you could do up to 12 pages, which is a lot. So the pace was different. But yeah, like Laura's saying, it's quite a lot of getting ready, particularly for our characters. We loved a hat day because, once you get the hat on, it's like there's not really much underneath the wig. It kind of just sits on your head all day. So those were much easier hair and makeup times.
I loved the time when Edith was in London working at the magazine. She just had some really fun workwear, ties and waistcoats and great hats. And it was a really fun story, and I think Anna really went to town on that wardrobe.
Yeah, mine was Mary's riding outfits. I always loved the horse riding element of, her character, and didn't get to do it in the movies, unfortunately, but those series were, there's just something about the cut and the tailoring of those riding habits were just incredible and felt so good to wear. You sort of felt really powerful putting those boots on. But throughout the years, we've been so fortunate with the costumes we've worn, and this film particularly is just incredible. Particularly those, the big ballroom, the Petersville ball. Those dresses were just stunning to wear. I knew how to ride, but I had to train Sidesaddle for Mary in the first few in the series, and up to series 6. That's when it changed, and you could ride astride, which was much easier in some ways than riding Sidesaddle. It's quite odd riding Sidesaddle. Yeah, but I love horse riding, so it was really fun for me. Do you remember when I broke my beads in the dining room? We were doing this big dining room scene, which take forever. I had this beaded necklace, and I was just playing with it. Probably shouldn't have touched it, and they broke, and the beads just went everywhere, and they didn't have a replacement, so we had to wait until they put every single bead back on the necklace. I felt terrible.
I had this very strange time where they said, "Oh, why don't you kick your shoes off and sat on the couch with Bertie, which is so undoubted that I was not prepared, and I had my head-toe nail varnish on. And they didn't have time to take it off, so they put plasters on my toe.
No, you didn't know that.
And so they did that because they thought that would be quicker. So that was weird.
So you can zoom in and you can you just sucked something.
Yeah, they were just nervous. You might see my balloony toes or something. They thought it was something very thin.
It was really fun. God, you've reminded me of it. I mean, I haven't thought of that in a long time, but it was, Julian Fellowes, who played Charles. Well, it was really fun seeing that. And I remember them just like having to just flick us with a paintbrush just before the scene, just to get all the kind of spatters on our face. And yeah, it was fun. I mean, those dresses for us, they're so delicate and, you barely touch them and we're so precious about them. So to actually do a scene in one of those dresses where we could just destroy it. And I remember, I think we had 3, they had to make that one so that there were 3 different dresses so that when we had to do retakes, they, put me back in the cleaner one. But it was a lot of fun.
There was some controlled fire at points. And there were stunt people doing certain parts of that. But I mean, Rob was very strong to carry me out of there. But we were very safe. So yeah, there was a mixture, but there were controlled parts of a fire in the room.